7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Hi, and welcome to the Marketing Essentials podcast. Our unique team helps small businesses grow by providing essential marketing expertise.
Welcome to the Marketing Essentials podcast. My name is W.Parmentier of W.Parmentier Photography.
And I'm Alicia Piazza of Custom Marketing Solutions.
And I'm Justin Kerr of Justin Kerr Design.
And together we make up
The Marketing Essentials team.
Wow, that's the best one ever, I think. It's not saying much, but hey, you know. So today we are discussing about business cards. Are they still relevant?
Yes. Thanks for listening.
Yes, thank you, and have a nice day. That's all we have to say. Our resident expert, Justin Kerr, will tell us why they are still relevant. Justin, take it away.
All right. Thanks for the intro.
No pressure, right?
Well, yeah, I've been wanting to talk about this topic for a while. You know, you and I both do a lot of networking.
Yes.
And collect a lot of business cards. And because of what I do, I have a particular fondness actually for business cards. I like them as pieces of design, but they're also obviously a great marketing tool. So I want to talk a little bit about both of those things today. So to answer your initial question, yes, even in this digital age, business cards are still relevant. They're one of the most cost-effective forms of marketing that you could possibly have. It's 14 square inches of marketing space that you give to somebody else. And they're relatively inexpensive, and you can actually have some very nice cards produced these days. You can get 500 for less than $100.
But Mr. Kerr, I can get them for $19.
Yeah, you could.
I'm just kidding.
I mean, there's lots of online vendors where you can get business cards really cheap.
But you get what you pay for, right?
Well, one of the things I wanted to point out was that this is something that is representing your brand.
Yeah.
You hand your card to somebody else. This represents you. It's your brand. So if it's a flimsy piece of poorly printed junk, that's your brand. Okay, that's what you're telling somebody is the quality of your product or service. So yeah, you can find 500 business cards for $20. What I'm recommending is that you go with a quality vendor that's going to put it on really nice stock, is going to reproduce the colors well, and it's going to be printed at a high quality.
Yeah, I mean,
you want it to represent.
I was being facetious, obviously. But,
I know.
Because we all know that there are places out there that you can buy 1 million cards for like $20, and you get what you pay for.
And you can go crazy on the other end too. You
Sure.
know, you can spend a ton of money on business cards. I'm saying that for most people, solopreneurs, startups like that, for $100 investment, you've got 500 of these little marketing tools at your disposal. They are one of the most cost-effective forms of marketing. There's also a value to business cards from a sensory point of view. So there's this term called haptic.
And it's $5 word. Come on,
yeah, it's communicating through touch.
I saw that word today in my phone. There's actually a haptic setting in the iPhone.
Oh, the
now.
haptic feedback.
And I was like,
That's the little vibration feature. When you
and then I saw it on Justin's notes, and I'm like, oh, there's that word again, twice in one day.
It's all
you gotta
coming
pay attention,
together. Well, there's a haptic aspect to business cards, and that's communicating through touch. So when you engage more than one of your senses, it allows you to retain that memory better. So business cards are visual, and they're also tactile. So when you're seeing them and you're touching them, you're creating a stronger memory than if you just saw something on a screen.
Right.
Yeah.
And brain science, there's been lots of studies in brain science that shows that people apply a higher value to physical marketing over digital marketing. And maybe we'll put some of those studies in the show notes. But clearly people assign a higher value to things that they can touch and things that they can manipulate than strictly digital marketing.
I swear I saw a study somewhere that said if you touch an object in a store, there's a certain percentage that you're more likely to buy that object. Like,
Yeah, you ever been to an Apple store?
Yes.
You can touch everything there. All it is basically a big store where you can
showroom.
play with the devices.
Right. There's something to be said about this haptic kind of relationship with objects.
Absolutely. I mean, the first time, I know you have an iPad with one of those really cool Apple pencils. And the first time I picked one up and played with it, in the Apple store, the weight of it, the feel of it, how smooth it was on the iPad. It's like, I wanted to buy it that day.
now you got to make me, can I see it, please?
And I don't even have an iPad. But
Nice.
it's
Ooh, it does have a
they've
weight
done
to it.
Yeah, and they've gone to a lot of effort to make it feel right in your hand.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't feel. You look at it, and because it's made out of a plastic material,
Right.
you think it would be lighter. You know, very nice. Sorry.
So yeah, so there's a haptic quality to business cards, which adds value to it. And there's other things too that you can do to enhance cards. There's rounded corners, there's die cuts, things that would help make your card distinctive from somebody else's card. So I got this card one time that had the face of a lion on one end of it, because that was their mascot. But they die cut around the profile of the face.
Seen that one?
I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, I do.
That's how memorable that
We
card
both
was.
know who you're
Well,
talking about because
exactly.
yeah.
So that card stands out. Now it's still a standard business card size.
I was just
is
going to say that
important.
we've talked about that.
I'm gonna get to that.
Yeah, come on.
I'm gonna get to
One of my
that.
pet peeves. Sorry.
Still a standard business card size, but there's that little bit of distinction. And I've got other cards because I'm kind of a geek and I collect business cards. But I've got other cards, like I got one from a photographer that had a square cut right in the middle of it,
Interesting.
so you could look through it to frame whatever you were looking at.
That is.
I
I don't
like
want to
that.
steal that.
So there's some things
that.
that you
It's
can
cool.
do to sort of enhance the haptics of
Sure,
a business
sure.
card. There was watching this case study one time for a local marketing agency, and they were doing a case study on a client that they had worked with, which was a materials company that basically produced sand for all different kinds of industry applications. So what he did for them when he rebranded them is he found a vendor who could print on sandpaper.
Wow.
So they created these business cards that were, very, very fine grit sandpaper, and then the contact information was silk screened on the sandpaper. So when you picked that up,
You knew it.
you understood
Wow,
right
that's cool.
away what this company did.
Yeah.
How cool is that?
That's probably one of the coolest things I've seen in a while.
Now, what about these kitschy cards that are like you fold it up and to make different things? And
Well, now you can go overboard with making your card distinctive. And here's what I would suggest is don't stray out of the standard size. I've gotten cards, and I've brought some examples in today, that are really big, or they're round, or they're square. But if you're a regular networker, you're going to have like some sort of binder or some sort of folio that you put your business cards in. And if you're producing your cards outside of a standard, which is 3.5 by 2, they're going to have a hard time fitting it into that folio.
yeah, just so you people at home know, Justin has a loose ring binder right in front of us right now. And he's actually got probably a half a dozen or so, maybe a little bit more, of odd-sized cards that there's really no place for him to put them. He kind of has them in a little sleeve outside of it because there's
and
really
these
no...
are the ones I've kept.
Yeah.
This is about like a tenth of all the ones
So-
that I've gotten. The other ones
yeah.
went into the circular file.
I was just going to say, so what ends up happening to those ones that you didn't keep? You know?
Yeah.
So the also, if you notice the size of a business card, it's about the size of a credit card. So when I go out, no matter where I go, I carry my business cards with me,
Same here,
and they
yeah.
just happen. I'll bring a stack when I go to a networking event, but if I'm going to like a wedding and I'm changing out wallets or whatever I'm doing, I always bring a couple business cards because you never know who you're going to run into.
Right.
And they have to fit in my wallet. So if I had an odd shaped business card and all I have on me is my wallet for that day, I'm less likely to bring my own cards. So that's pretty bad.
And gentlemen, this is a
good point.
This is a tip for the gentlemen who use wallets and have their wallet in their pocket. Don't put your card in the wallet, because what ends up happening is you sit on it, and when you're
gets
going
all
to hand it
bent
out
up.
to somebody, it's
Yeah.
all bent and wrinkled, and it's like very
Right.
unprofessional looking. You know?
I actually, when I bring my business cards to a networking event, I have a small metal case.
Yeah, that's what I've got.
That
Little
holds
metal-
I have
about,
one of those too.
tiny metal case that has my
right,
Yeah.
holds about
Cards that are kept in it.
15 cards.
Yep.
Which is plenty for a networking event.
Oh,
'Cause
absolutely.
honestly, I mean, you might hand out one or two. You're not
Yeah, I
gonna
mean,
hand
if you're walking around handing everybody you see in a card,
you're not doing
you're
it
not doing it right anyway.
No.
So
Yeah.
And you can learn more about that in our networking episode that
with
we-
Bob Salvis,
Yes.
yes.
Bob Salvis, yes. So I have a metal case where I keep my business cards, and it slips into my back pocket or slips into my jacket pocket.
Mm-hmm.
It's very easy. Now I do keep a couple in my wallet just in case, because I don't always carry the little business
Right.
card holder. But they do get kind of they
Crushed up
start to
and-
get a little bit crapped up.
They fray after a while, and it's
Yeah.
not worth it.
It's more like just to have them just in case. But I do agree you should carry if you're going, you
Yeah,
can't
I
separate.
pretty much carry my little metal case everywhere I go now, because
I
I've gotten
don't.
caught once or twice where I didn't have a card. So now it just automatically goes in my back pocket. I know it's
Right.
because it's metal, it's safe, and I don't have to worry about it.
I guess I have enough little things to carry. So
No,
I
that's-
have like
I'm not saying people should do it the way I do. I'm
lip
just saying
gloss.
because I don't like putting it in my wallet because of the crush factor.
Right.
Yeah, I did notice that those ones
kidding.
get like a little more like tattered.
Well, especially for me as a photographer, I want people to look at the photos that are on my card, and if it's got a crease on it or something like that,
That doesn't help you.
Yeah.
That doesn't help my brand, you know. So, but again, I mean, if you're an, I don't know, an accountant, it may not make it as big a deal, you know,
So
if it's slightly creased. Sorry.
one other thing I just want to say before we go on to like the other points, just real quick, is like, so people might be saying, especially like some of the younger people out there, is like, well, why can't we just connect via LinkedIn or send each other an email right on the phone while we're right there? And that's all good and everything, but I think you get lost in the clutter. And, you know, going back to having that physical thing that you can touch, and then when you get home, you put it on the desk, like, this is the person that I need to connect with, versus you get a LinkedIn notification, you accept them, and guess what? They get buried into the 50 other notifications
and
that
then,
pop up on your phone.
And then a month later, you're going, how do I know this person?
Why am I friends with this person? So I think they're, you know, no matter, it's a timeless piece,
Yeah.
the business card.
Definitely. I mean, when I come home from a networking event, first thing I do is pull out all the cards that I've collected, and I put them right in front of my monitor. And it reminds me
To follow up.
I need to follow up with these people. And as I follow up with them, then I can file them away.
I have to admit, that's probably one of my weak points is the follow up. I know I'm supposed to do it. I put them on my desk, and then like 3 weeks later, I'm like, oh crap! I know I'm supposed to do that. You know.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. I mean, sometimes I get a little behind.
but yeah, I mean, you make an excellent point. I mean, over the last couple of years, I've heard a lot of people say, "Well, you don't need business cards anymore." But the reality is,
you absolutely
yes,
do.
you do.
Yeah.
Absolutely
I don't think
do.
they'll ever go. In my opinion,
I hope they don't ever go because we're going to all get lost in the shuffle then. I
And,
think.
you know, you made a point before, Alicia, that it's, well, we can just exchange contact information from phone to phone. And you can do that. But that says nothing about your brand.
No.
true.
You know?
Very true.
And your business card carries your brand.
Yep. It has your
So-
brand. It has whatever else.
Exactly. So it's
relevant.
not just about the information.
No, not at all. I agree.
Now, some design considerations for business cards, and these are my personal design opinions, you know, based on my experience. You may have other designers that, you know, differ on what they would do with a business card. So take it for what it is. But number one, keep it simple. I've gotten cards that have, you know, an encyclopedia of information on them, and they're overwhelming to look at.
Oh, gee, I see one right here.
Yeah.
We won't call anybody out.
And the thing is, do you actually ever read the whole thing?
No. And you know, the point of a business card is it's a point of reference. It shouldn't tell somebody everything that they could possibly know about you or your business. It's really just a way for them to remember who you are. It carries a little bit of your branding, and it gives them a way of getting in touch with you. So keep it simple. You know, I have...
Okay, so this card that I'm looking at, I'm not going to give the name
Yeah,
of who's on the card.
don't
I would
anybody
never do
under the
that.
bus.
But there are 13 different things that they do on this card.
all in different colors, too.
All in different colors. Yes,
Yeah.
13 different things. I got about 3 in, and I'm like, oh my gosh.
My own business card is probably a good example. On the front, it has the name of my company, it has my phone number, and my email address.
Yeah.
And that's it on one side. And then on the back, it has some of the things I do and the website. That's it.
Yeah,
That's all you need.
It really is.
You know? Now, admittedly, there are some people that work for large corporations that already provide them a business card template, and they're required to have, you know, like some people that work in the financial fields, they're required to have a certain amount of information on their cards.
Yeah, their certifications and stuff like that have to be on there.
Exactly, and they have, you know, multiple phone numbers or multiple, you know,
Fax numbers.
Yeah. So in that regard, it's like if you're stuck in that system, there's not much you can do. But if you have the power to design your own card, keep it simple.
Mm-hmm.
It's a starting point. It's not meant to tell the receiver everything that they could possibly ever want to know about you. So reduce the visual clutter as much as possible on the card.
Mm-hmm.
Now, in your case, Bill, you know, your cards have a photo on the back of them.
Yes.
Which makes sense because you're a photographer.
Well, I hope it makes sense.
So you want to showcase your work.
But it's still very simple. Now, total disclosure here, Justin designed my card for me. But I mean, it is very simple. It's got my picture on one side, or a vector logo of me.
Yeah, it's
on
your
one side.
avatar.
My avatar. Thank you. That's the word for it. Thank you. I got to talk to the expert on this one to remember what it's called. Then it has my company name, my phone number, my website address, and my email address.
Mm-hmm.
And then on the back is just my company, a small thing that says my company name, and then the photo.
That's one of my
I
favorite
really like-
ones, by the way.
yeah.
That's the one with the fastback Mustang.
Yeah, the fastback Mustang. But the thing is Justin also turned me on to a company called moo.com. Great cards. And I can actually, as a photographer, I can put 15 different photos on 100 cards
Right.
over the course of 100
So they
cards.
become almost like trading cards.
Well, yeah. Well, not only that. Say, for instance, okay, I shoot drone work. I have a card that's got a picture of a drone on it. So if I'm talking to somebody about hiring me to do drone work, I'll give them that card because now it's a visual reminder of what I do.
Right.
I'm not only a photographer, but look, there's a drone on there. That means he can do drone work for me. So it's a way to keep it simple, but still get your point across. So
Right.
I did want to.
So here's a couple of little tips for keeping it simple. If you're putting your website address on there, you can leave off the leading www.
Yeah, years ago it was suggested that you did put it on there, but
Right.
now
Browsers are smart enough now that if you leave that off, they automatically add it in. And some website addresses don't use the www. It's just HTTP, :/ and then it's the website address.
Yeah.
And everybody knows www already. So you don't need to put it on your website address. That'll shorten the website address and it reduces the visual clutter on the card. Now, if you can get away with it, one phone number. If it's absolutely positively necessary, like here's my office, here's my cell phone number. Okay, it's put both of them on there. But if you can get away with one phone number, get away with one phone number. And honestly, I don't know anybody who uses a fax machine anymore. So many cards with fax numbers on
The
them.
only time I see that seems to be prevalent is still with
Lawyers.
bookkeepers, accountants, and lawyers.
Medical sometimes.
Sometimes medical,
Really?
but outside, because some of them still use them.
Wow.
Here's the surprising thing as far as medical. There are some hospital type situations where they won't accept a digital email for
Yeah, it needs to be.
It has to be faxed.
Physical fax?
Yeah, it has to be a
Wow,
physical
okay.
fax.
Security
I learned
reasons.
something new today.
So in those cases, yes, I agree. You'd have to have them. But I also agree, if you're a photographer, you don't need a fax number.
Yeah,
I don't own a fax, for the record.
if you haven't had a fax machine in 4 years and that's still on your card
Time to
because
take
you
it
never
off.
took it off,
Yeah.
take it off. Yeah.
Quick question for you before we go too further.
Yeah.
Too much further. How often should you refresh a business card? For me, obviously, it's a
When you
little
run
different.
out.
No, when I say refresh, I mean refresh the look of it.
Oh.
Not order more.
Not reorder it. Now, you want to order them before you run out.
Yes, you do.
But that's another story. No, how often should you
the
look?
best printers will put a reminder slip in
About 20 away, 30 away.
about 100 cards back from the end of your box.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Right?
Yeah. So, but I mean, as far as when I say refresh, how often should you look at your card and say maybe it's time for an update?
Well, since your business card is part of your overall brand,
Mm-hmm.
if you've updated your brand, you want to update your cards as well.
Yeah.
If any of your information has changed, if you've moved or if you've gotten a different phone number, in your case, I know you refresh yours frequently because you're using photos on the
Yes,
back.
yes.
So as you
I'm slightly different as far as that.
right,
Yeah.
but I mean, anyone who's using who's in the visual field, a photographer or videographer or somebody maybe who's an interior designer, and you're using imagery on your card to showcase your work. You want to refresh that periodically because you want to show your latest and your best.
Yeah, I mean, every time I order a new batch of cards, I look for a whole new set of photos. There are a couple that carry over that are kind of perennials that I really like.
Right.
But for the most part, I try to keep it the mix at about 10 to 15 different looks. And I would say at least 11 to 12 of those are brand new every time I go and swap out, just so I can have some new, fresh stuff out there. But anyway.
Yeah. So anytime either your branding changes or your content changes, I would say perfect time to update your card. And maybe you just want to use some different material. Maybe you found a particular vendor that you really like their stock.
Yeah.
I get a lot of compliments on my card because of the finish on it. It's
You've got more like a cloth finish
like
almost
a
on it, right?
velvety finish.
Yeah.
And I've had people massage my card
Mine
after
too.
I've given it to them. They're like, wow, I really like the feel of this.
As long as they're not massaging you right
Well,
away.
Oh, yeah, that's a different story altogether.
But
There's something about the feel of a good card.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so if you've had your card for a while, but you want to upgrade the stock
Yeah.
or you want to try a different vendor, there's an opportunity to change up.
That's what, in my case, I would do that because I had mine printed glossy, which I liked the look of it. And I was all about the look when I had it printed. Now looking back, you can't really write on it that well.
It's a very good point. And that was the other thing I wanted to mention is
Oh, sorry.
no,
Steal your thunder.
You brought them right into
segued
it.
right into
You brought them right into it.
So leave some room on your card, preferably on the back, where when you're out networking, the other person can write down some information about you on that card. So when they get home later and they forget who you are, they can flip that card over and go, oh, right, we met at this networking event on this date, and here's some particulars about
Now, speaking of writing on cards, there's one thing that we haven't mentioned in any of our podcasts.
What's that?
If your phone number changes or your email address changes, for all the love of all that's good, please get a new card. Don't cross out the phone number and put a new phone number on the
Don't
card.
do that.
Yeah.
Don't do that.
It looks unprofessional.
It's
It
just
looks,
unprofessional looking.
I mean, I've actually had people in the past that have done that with me. They'll, oh, my phone, this isn't my phone number anymore. Cross it out.
And I'm amazed at how many cards I receive where people don't use the back of the card. You know, you've got two
Blank,
sides
yeah.
to this card, and there's no reason why you can't utilize the back of it. You know, especially if you have a lot of content, bring some of that to the back.
Now, is that because people are sometimes just cheap? Because it does usually cost extra to print on, like if you're going with some of these big name places, they charge you extra for printing both sides.
Printing technology has gotten to the point where it's really not any more expensive to print double side than it is single side. Now, maybe if you're going to an old school printer that doesn't do digital printing
Then maybe,
and they're
yeah.
doing offset, you're going to pay a little bit more for the back side of the card. But like you mentioned Moo, and both of us have used that vendor, and it doesn't cost you any more to print two sides than one. Matter of fact, they encourage you to print on two sides. And you have that real estate. Why not use it? People are going to flip the card over. I've never handed my card to anybody who didn't flip it over. So it's just human nature when you get it.
You want to see what's on the other side, yeah.
Right. And so make use of that second side. And like you said, leave some room for notations for people to write, and make sure that the backside is not glossy coated, so people can actually
at
put
least
a pen to
the
it.
side with the space on it has to be
And if they're
flat.
not writing on it, you can write on it too. Because how many times do you meet someone and you want to give them like a website to go to or information
or a referral for somebody else, like Bob Salvas and stuff.
Right.
Does that.
Exactly.
So the writing thing is really, I think that's
that was a revelation for me when I first started using business cards. It was like, I can write on these, because you look at it and go, well, that's such a nice card. I don't want to write anything on that. Why would I want to mess with a card that looks so good?
I've got writing almost on the back of every single one of these single one of these cards, and because as I meet people, it's I want to take notations so I remember later, because I don't have a photographic memory. And I know some cards are industry specific, like real estate agents will have a photograph of themselves on their card.
Oh yeah, how do you feel about that? Because I did put a picture on mine, but now I'm like, is that weird? Like, is it not for all industries?
I think it's a personal choice whether you put a photo of yourself on the card or not. I think anytime you put a photo of yourself on the card, you do run the risk of other people passing judgment on that photo. So, that's just that's just human nature. People will look at a photo and they'll decide in a split second whether they like your face or not.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, but yeah.
So
That's so funny the way you say it.
it's just one of those things that you need to consider.
Why do real estate agents do that?
I think there's a security. Someone once told me there was a security reason behind that. If they're if somebody else is giving out their card to a potential seller, they want to be able to have that there. So if I go to meet you at my property, I know what you look like before you come up to the property.
Really, I hadn't
I heard this a long time ago. I don't know if it still holds true, but somebody told me that the reason they put the photos of the agent on the card is so when you go to see them, you know who you're looking for.
Right.
I just figured it was some sort of industry standard.
Even if you notice on a lot of the even the signs you see on properties being sold,
They have the face.
They have their face too for the same.
I
reason.
figured it was just such a highly competitive market that you wanted to.
That may be
distinguish
part
yourself.
of the reason.
Also,
but
you
I think
don't
it's,
get like personal branding. Sorry, Bill.
No, it's okay.
Because a lot of times you work for like that bigger branch, so like sometimes your face is really
your only brand.
Yeah.
But I mean, again, I could also see where it could be used security wise. You want to know who you're meeting, and you get that on the card in front of you. So anyway,
Before the days of Facebook,
Yeah,
before you could look somebody
I
up
don't- like I
online.
said,
Well, that's a good point.
I don't know if that still holds true now. It maybe
a
just
good
carry
point.
over, but.
So maybe there's no reason to put your face on the business card if you have a Facebook page or you have some other kind of social media where people can go and see what you look like.
What about QR codes or anything that brings somebody? What do you
I'm sorry.
think?
Did I?
I heard a
side.
really loud sigh.
I mean, I like QR codes, but not on a business card.
Yeah, I mean, I've received some cards with a QR code on it. And, when we were talking to Bob Salvas about networking, QR code is a selling tool. So you do run the risk of somebody feeling like they're being sold to.
Yeah.
Because you're telling them, hey, go to this website or go, or get a special offer or whatever.
Ooh, I've seen business cards that have special offers right on them too.
Well, I think it depends on maybe
It is used in photography.
What you're doing, I mean, I guess like if you're a massage therapist and you want to give somebody your business card and on the back it says your first visit is 20% off or something, I guess I wouldn't see anything necessarily wrong with that. But I'm always just leery about, when we're talking about networking, about being sold to.
Well, yeah, I think you need to have different cards because when I used to do portrait photography, like family portraitures, I would have something on the back that would say, it was actually a spot where you could write in the time of the appointment, but also get 10% off your first day by 10.
Yeah.
That's a very different thing than going to a networking event. So I'd have different cards for the networking events. Yeah. Doctors use the same type of thing where they put the appointment on the back of the card. Yeah. Mm-hmm. That's, again, different than going to a networking event. So you almost have to have two separate types of cards, I would argue.
I think that's a good recommendation.
Or, before you design it, just consider the primary use, because some people don't network, but they still do need, like doctors don't typically go to many networking events, but they still have cards, I would say.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
I mean, I think networking is great for many, many different industries, but there are sometimes people have cards and they're not at networking events, so they serve different purposes. When I go to my dog grooming salon, they give me a business card. Yeah, and it's not for like the particular groomer, but it's branded and it's something about the texture, and they write on the back for the appointment. So it's a business card too.
Yeah, I mean, but again, I think for what we're talking about here today, you're really gearing more towards the networking as opposed to the examples we just gave.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of what I've been talking about has to do with marketing yourself, and you're going to do that at networking events.
So what is the takeaway that we need to take on from what you had to talk about today?
I would say the major takeaways are, yes, business cards are still important. I think they're a key tool in your marketing toolbox. Remember that they are simply a starting point for someone to get in touch with you. Mm-hmm. So keep them simple. They don't need to say everything about you. Just the basics, and go for high quality. As high quality as you can afford. Quantity. Yeah, because this represents you. This represents your brand. So whatever you're handing somebody says a lot about the service or product that you provide. So make sure it's high quality.
Mm-hmm.
With that, I think. Unless you had, Alicia, did you have another question? No. She looked at me for a second like she was going to say something. Okay, I guess it's time for our shameless plug. For those of you who enjoy our podcast or would like to hear other episodes that we've done, you can find us at marketingessentialsteam.com. There you can subscribe. If you are a subscriber, we have something special for you. You'll get a weekly email telling you when the next podcast is coming out, and you will also have access to some secret kind of extras that we offer that just you wouldn't get otherwise. So definitely take some time and head over there and subscribe. Justin, how else can they? Justin's laughing at me the way I said that. But it sounded
Call
good.
now.
Call
Bill
now.
is
You
standing
can.
by.
Yes, I am. Alicia will be standing by. No, that's not right.
Well, you can find us on Facebook at Marketing Essentials Team. And there we put up some little marketing tidbits, and we do some Facebook Lives and just information about the Marketing Essentials team. But if you really want to get into the know in regards to marketing your business, I would recommend that you join our private Facebook group, which is Little Rhody Marketing Support Group. And you can find that on Facebook. And it is 120 members strong and growing, and it is filled with marketing professionals and small business owners. And it's a great place to hang out, learn more about how to market your business successfully, ask questions, put up some marketing victories that you've had, or even some marketing challenges that you've had so other people can learn from.
Yeah, I mean, the great thing about that group is I've seen business owners helping each other.
Yes.
With struggles that they're having, and I think it's awesome. Yep. It's a great place to just be a sounding board for struggles that you're having.
Absolutely.
All right, with that, guys, I think that's all our shameless plugs.
I think we forgot to mention also the. I know we do this every time, but the Apple Podcast also for those of you who listen on the go. Marketing Essentials Team at Apple Podcasts. Now, Alicia, I'm sorry.
I think that's everything. And thank you to our Rooms and Works co-working space in Providence. That is where we record from weekly, when we come to you live.
Yes.
Well, not live, but from Rooms and Works.
Pre-recorded live.
Okay, it's time to wrap this one up. Say goodnight, Gracie.
Good night, Gracie. Hey,
Bye.
Have a great day. Bye.